freedom is part of the American identity. So without freedom, what do we have? How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who has come out and say, screw your freedom when it comes to wearing the mask for the bug. Go out there and get the shot while you at it because, hey, you got to protect X, Y, and Z person. And if you don't do things to protect someone else, it's your fault that they would catch something and then have an adverse reaction. Now, this is really crazy, but knowing about Arnold's background and how he thinks, I'm not necessarily surprised at all. But before I go down that road, getting into his dad and whatnot, let's roll the clip. In this clip, you'll hear and see the governor, the former governor of California, bodybuilding, RoboCop, all this and that, Arnold Schwarzenegger say, hey, screw your freedom when it comes to wearing the mask. You got to do it because if you don't, then you are a bad person. After we get done watching that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what he said there. Then I give you my 2 cents, my deep detail analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
But I think people should know there is a virus here. It kills people. And the only way we prevent it is to get vaccinated, to wear masks, to do social distancing, washing your hands all the time, and not just to think about, well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom. Because with freedom comes obligations and kind of responsibilities. We cannot just say, I have the right to do X, Y, and Z. When you affect other people, that is when it gets serious. It's like no different than a traffic light. We put a traffic light at that intersection so someone doesn't kill someone else by accident. So this is why we have a traffic light. You cannot say, no one is going to tell me that I'm going to stop here, that I have to stop at this traffic light here. I'm going to go right through it. Yeah, then you kill someone else, and then it is your doing. So this is the same thing with the virus. You cannot go and not put a mask on because when you breathe, you can infect someone else, and you can infect someone that then gets sick and may die.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, I don't know where to begin. First things first, you're talking about you got to wear a mask to protect yourself from someone else. Well, Arnold, I mean, the obvious thing here, the elephant in the room is you didn't wear protection when it came to the maid, and you got a whole 20-something-year-old son. So I don't want to have you tell me anything about protecting myself, but that's a different story. And for now, I digress. It should be a matter of personal choice, right? You can suggest to me, hey, here's some measures you can do to protect yourself and others from this thing. Okay, cool. You gave me the information. I feel like I'm informed. Now let me choose whether I want to do that or not for myself. That should be how it is. And then this whole thing about, I hear this a lot, seat belts and stoplights and stop signs. That's a different kind of thing. I think people generally respect some of these rules when you're talking about stoplights and all that kind of stuff, because we know we don't want to endanger ourselves or anybody else. It's a thing that we all follow. And if you don't follow it, it's a penalty. We pretty much respect that. Now, when it comes to seat belts, that's not always applicable. A lot of times it is usually, the click of the ticket, you see those signs in the interstate, but that's not always applicable. But for the most part, people wear it when they feel like they want to have a layer of security, when they feel like they want to be safe or whatever, they wear it. But should somebody be in the car with you saying, hey, you got to put this ticket on, you got to put your seatbelt on, should you be able to go to the penitentiary for not wearing a seatbelt to protect yourself? I mean, maybe you might get a fine if you get caught on the road, but is that a very common thing? Normally, the problem is people on their phone texting and not looking at the road and then getting into a wreck that way, or being behind the wheel of the car drunk. So, but that's a whole different lane. So I'm going to just kind of get back on track. The whole point is that there should be a level of freedom when you're talking about a choice to wear a mask or not wear a mask. And without freedom, what do we really have in America? And if you want to go down the whole road of wear a mask, get the shot, and all these things are mandated. You have no choice. Where do we stop? Because like I say, there are certain things in society we could pretty much agree on that it makes sense. You shouldn't be able to kill somebody. You should stop at a red light. These are basic things, Jess. But how about if I told you this? You can't eat sugar anymore. You can't eat fried food anymore. You can't eat ice cream anymore, Nancy. I'm looking at you, Nancy Pelosi. You can't eat these foods that are guaranteed to make you unhealthy, obese, and sick if you eat too much of it. Or as a matter of fact, you can eat some of it, but only on Sundays. You can only have this amount, 8 ounces or however many pounds in a year. We're going to ration your food to you. We're going to ration how much you can have when you can have it. Sounds very familiar, doesn't it? And you know what? Arnold should know better because he's from Austria. That's part of Nazi Germany. But his dad was a Nazi. Yes, he was. Not judging him, but he was a Nazi. Volunteered for it. He was not conscripted from what I'm able to read. And if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. So maybe he doesn't really understand, like maybe he grew up in a way that his father told him it's okay to have really oppressive rules and regulations and whatnot. I don't really know. Maybe he's just being woke. It's kind of weird because wasn't he a Republican governor? I'm not really sure what he did in California, but he was a Republican governor after the other, what was that, Jerry Brown or somebody got recalled? I'm not sure who that was. But anyway, he was a governor as a Republican, not really sure how Republican he is to go out here and say, well, you don't have any freedom, screw your freedom. But maybe the way he grew up is creeping back or was always there to be authoritarian like this, where you don't really have much choice. And again, if you're going to go down that road, let me tell you that you can only eat 1 meal a day. That's how I eat. So since I eat that way and that protects me from getting this thing and going to the hospital and taking up the beds in the hospital, you got to do the same thing. And as a matter of fact, even beyond this virus, let's stop the unhealthy diets because we have too many people that are on Medicaid, Medicare. They got the sugar and they got all these kind of health complications from bad diets. Now, are we going to do that? No. Is it a suggestion you should listen to? Sure. You should listen to it. But if you don't want to, I'm not going to lock you up or do anything like that because you don't listen to this advice. That's your body, your choice, right? It's funny, as I close, all these people would sit up here and say, my body, my choice when it comes to a baby, a whole human being inside of you that's not actually your body, by the way. It's a baby's body. They'll say it's my body, my choice when it comes to a baby goo goo gaga in the womb. But then when it comes to your actual body, putting something in your arm or put something over your face to prevent you from breathing properly, then it's no longer my body, my choice. It's, well, do it for the greater good, for the collective, for the community. Again, does it sound familiar? We are barreling toward communism, and communism never, ever works. It's always tried. People try to implement little things from it, but it never works. Food, one of the first things to go. But you know what? As I close, for real, I'm going to say this. Maybe the whole thing about going to communism is an end around to get to the whole food problem, because that's one of the bigger issues. What they say, like 78% of those that are in the hospital with this bug are obese. So maybe if we can get communism in there successfully, then they can really ration the food out. Then it won't be all these obese people running around. That's one thing you don't see in the communist country generally are obese people, except for North Korea, where you got Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un is fat and jolly as it could be. Meanwhile, the citizens trying to find whatever kind of rodent they can get their hands on to eat so they don't starve to death and die. That is a communist society for you. We don't want to go down that road in the good old US of A, and we don't want Arnold, who had the Nazi commie daddy, to come over here to the USA and drag us down into that. Freedom is part of what America is all about. It is the basis of America. People can go back to slavery time and talk about how we weren't free back then, but that's not even important. The whole thing is we've been able to evolve from that and have true freedom, real freedom. We were the ones that advocated for the end of slavery all over the world, not just here in the U.S. Okay, there's still slavery active in other parts of the country where it's not here anymore. We are a free nation and we're not going to go in a different direction. So sorry, Arnold, you might want to go back to Austria with that kind of information and tell the survivors over there, people that are still alive from the wartime, to go back to a time of no freedom and see how that works out for you. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what the governor said, talking about screw your freedom when it comes to the mask and whatnot? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I'm at. I think that is ridiculous what he said, and I refuse to listen to anything that he's talking about when you say screw your freedom in America, where freedom is the basis of our identity. Freedom is the reason why we are what we are right now in the world, period. That's it. And even if I was to buy into that, is what he said even going to work? I mean, we've seen some of these efficacy numbers, 42% for a particular juice for the bug in the month of July. People like Anthony Fauci saying, wear the mask, then don't wear the mask. It's not going to be effective, then it is effective. They don't even know what's going on. The things they're putting out there barely work. How about you just take advice that makes sense and do what's best for you and your family? Okay? If somebody else got something going on, I can't do nothing about that, you know? It's like if somebody smoked crack for a living and then I come around them with a sparkler on 4th of July and they get triggered and they go back to the crack mode, hey, man, that's not my fault. That's not my prerogative to protect them from themselves. Everybody got to tighten up and see what's going on. I have freedom. You have freedom. Let's have that be that. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.